Welcome to Heaping Spoonful, a twice-monthly conversation with restaurateurs, chefs, growers, and others who have helped generate the legends associated with eateries across the Mid-South. The team at Benny Keith is proud to sponsor this adventure with the goal of preserving the stories that have helped cultivate an amazing food scene across the Mid-South. So kick back and enjoy a Heaping Spoonful.
Hello, all you food fans out there. Welcome to another episode of Heaping Spoonful. I'm Kelly Bass, your host, and I've really loved getting the chance to talk to so many great chefs and restaurateurs across the Mid-South as we have recorded these podcasts. And I want to give great big thanks to Benny Keith Foods for giving me this opportunity. I've learned that talking about food is much more enjoyable than writing about it, which I did for more than 30 years as a restaurant reviewer and feature writer for 2 Little Rock, Arkansas newspapers and later for a couple of local magazines. Today, our guests are Wendy Schay and Jill McDonald, the owners and operators of the Croissanterie, a popular restaurant in west part of Little Rock, Arkansas, that just might focus at least a little bit on those classic French flaky treats. Boy, I had a hard time. French flaky treats. So welcome, Wendy. Welcome, Jill.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Glad y'all are here. Appreciate you coming over. We've recorded almost 100 episodes of Heaping Spoonful, and while every subject has an interesting story, your alls are right up there in terms of the trajectory and how far you've come. I will tell you the internet is a podcaster's best friend because it helps guide the conversation. I can learn a lot about you, and you all have gotten a lot of good press. You're still a relatively new operation, at least bricks and mortar, but a lot of people have paid a lot of attention to you and written a lot and talked a lot about you. But while those press reports identify both of you as trained chefs, they haven't given me a lot of background. So let's start kind of at the beginning of your culinary journey. So each of you, please tell our listeners a little bit about your journey from just being a regular person to being a chef. A, did you grow up loving food? B, did you work at restaurants? C, how did you become a chef? So Wendy, we'll start with you.
All right. I have been baking all my life. I love pastries. I love cakes.
Even as a kid?
Even as a kid, yes. Yeah. With my grandma, my mom, my sister, just baking different things. And I grew up in California. My grandparents were here in Arkansas. So when we would come home, I say home now, but come back to Arkansas, just being in the kitchen with her. And she's canning fruits and vegetables and working in her garden and just making good stuff and biscuits. Made lots of biscuits with her. Yes. But I've always baked. I was a nurse in my previous life, actually. Okay. I was a nurse in the NICU at UAMS.
Wow.
And I had 2 children. As my girls got older, I wanted to cook better for them. And so I reached out to the culinary school and asked about doing some community ed classes. But way back then, they didn't have them.
Okay.
So they convinced me to enroll in culinary school to get a baking degree.
At Pulaski Tech,
yes.
UA Pulaski Tech.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was it already out where it is now at the county line? Or
no, it was still at South Campus.
Yes,
North Campus. Yeah. Yep. I did 1 semester there while they were finishing up the build out there at the big South Campus. And so I got to do 1 at the old and then moved over the next year.
Then you're one of those success stories of folks who went to that culinary school and made it a career.
Yes, baking in a hallway. We did that at North Campus.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And so when you got completed with your culinary education, did you go get a job in a restaurant, or what did you do?
Well, I had worked off and on at restaurants all through high school. That's what I did, through high school and college, and during nursing school, waiting tables. It was just, food. It was fun and easy, and I liked doing it, and so I just kept doing it until I did nursing. And while I was in culinary school, my instructors encouraged me or kind of forced me to compete. I was an older, non-traditional student. I competed in some baking competitions and ended up winning some.
Wow, great.
Traveled the state and eventually the country, winning some other competitions, and got addicted to that. And so competition and learning new things and doing hard things and just staying up on new techniques and researching and things that are happening in the world, in the pastry world, and trying new stuff is what I like to do. I ended up teaching at the culinary school before I even graduated. That last semester I was a student, I became a teacher and taught the baking courses out there. I really enjoyed it. We opened up a high school program out there, the Career Center for the Culinary, and baking program, and did that for a few years until COVID hit.
Yes, it changed everything.
And lots of things changed. And in the middle of all that is when I met Jill.
Okay. Well, Jill, tell your tale of how you got involved in loving food and cooking food.
Well, I'm from Southeast Arkansas originally, and
Where in Southeast Arkansas?
Dumas,
Oh, yeah.
down in Southeast
Know Dumas
Arkansas.
well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And both sets of my grandparents were there, my mom and dad, and we grew up around the table.
Sure.
You know, all the holidays and all that stuff. My mother loves to say that I didn't step foot into the kitchen until I got to college because I was starving to death. And so I had my first catering job when I was in college. I catered for one of my English teachers for her husband's poker game.
Oh, that's
And
fun.
it kind of got to, I love to cook for all my friends and stuff.
Right.
So when I moved to Little Rock, I was going to go into computers, but there's no way I was going to be able to sit behind a desk for as long
Right.
as it needed me to. So my very first job was at the Purple Cow.
Oh, cool.
And the one on Cantrell.
Yeah,
And,
one of the legendary restaurants
Yes,
in Arkansas.
and I got addicted.
Yeah. So you were just working in the kitchen, cooking burgers and making milkshakes?
I started out cashiering, and then I was a soda jerk, and then they called me up one morning. Hey, the dishwasher called out. Can you come in? And sure. And so I did that, and then I moved to the kitchen, and I've been working in kitchens ever since, and that was 25 years ago.
Wow. So other restaurants along the way?
Other restaurants along the way. I've worked at Scallions. I worked at some that are no longer around. I got into some corporate restaurants, Carino's and Red Lobster and Shorty Smalls, and that's, and I've always worked in the kitchen, worked every position in the restaurant, and then ended up at culinary school because I got in a car accident and hurt my back. And so I was trying to find an alternative to being a restaurant manager.
Right.
Which is
on your feet.
Yeah, 16 hours a day sometimes.
So you
lifting
went
all
to the
way.
culinary school as an instructor or as a student?
I went as a student.
Okay, great.
I thought that being a student and learning a different aspect and, it could get me into a different position in the industry. I didn't want to leave the hospitality or the restaurant industry, but I needed something else to do. And it ended up being the best rehab for my back surgery that there ever was. And Wendy and I met. We actually had a class together, and we just, we became friends. And she started making croissants for one of our instructors out there, and I became an instructor out there. But then I was the director of catering for Pulaski Tech, and I actually mainly worked over at the North Campus in their cafe over there.
Yeah.
But somebody sent us something one day, and it's like, y'all should put your head together and come up with something.
Somebody sent you something. What do you mean?
Well, they actually sent us this picture of something called a taco.
Taco?
Taco.
Okay.
And it was a taco and a croissant shell.
Huh. Interesting.
And so I did all the fillings and toppings and sauces, and
Put inside the croissants, and
she made the croissant shell.
That is a match made in heaven.
And so
and how long ago was this? About?
Was that in 2000?
Probably 2017 or 2018.
Okay, which doesn't sound long ago, but now that it's 24, it's 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah.
And she started making croissants because they were hard.
Well, a 3-day process, I see. I watched the video. Yeah, that's cool that y'all have that on your website. We'll get around to that in a minute. So you're making tacos just for each other to eat or for people to eat? And
Faculty ate really well that day.
Yeah,
They enjoyed it.
I actually taught a class twice at Pulaski Tech Culinary School, which was professional food writing. Because we had a class and they wrote restaurant reviews and chef profiles and created menus and did a lot of writing, and it was fun. But adjunct professor was a lot of work, so I ended up kind of wimping out. So what led? So again, I love the progression of your stops along the way, and that you started again as students and then instructors at the culinary school. And the next step that I know of is that you all started selling things at the Hillcrest Farmers Market.
Well, one step behind that, competing and trying hard stuff, I had seen that croissants were difficult to make, and so I tried to make them and got to working with a few different recipes and tweaked them and kind of developed my own recipe and made them for one of our fellow instructors. And he was from France, and he had tried them, and he said, "You've got something here. This tastes like home."
Yeah.
So I started making them for him for his catering events that he was doing. And when I would make them, because it is a process, I wouldn't make just a few.
Right.
I made as many as I could, a couple dozen. And so we would, let friends and family know. And eventually word got around, and I'd have to do a Facebook post, and
You'd
1
start
dozen
selling
and
those,
3
huh?
dozen and 6 dozen. And then that led to the farmer's market.
Okay.
I reached out to Hillcrest Farmer's Market and set up a table there.
And selling croissants.
Croissants.
Just as, or not tacos, but.
Right. Yep. Just straight croissants. We did our butter croissant, chocolate, almond croissants.
Oh, almond looks good, yeah.
And we would do cinnamon rolls and sourdough and baguettes.
Oh, I've bought your cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
My wife, we live just a few blocks from there, and I did, and I came home with one, and I was very popular in my house. Yeah. So at that point, still, are y'all thinking bigger, or are you just like, hey, this is kind of cool? We're going to do our jobs, and we're going to sell some stuff in the farmer's market, or did you already go like, we can take this thing bigger?
Well, Jill's always had big dreams. It was kind of a side thing for a while, and we had the farmer's market table, and every week we would take more, and we just couldn't make enough.
Yeah.
And someone came up to us at the market and asked when they could get a breakfast sandwich on a croissant. Well, working from home and baking out of the house, that's something you just can't do. And so we put our heads together and started seriously thinking about a food truck.
These food trucks have become a thing. Yeah.
We sure did. And it was, spring of 2018? I guess it was.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and so again, then you can make a breakfast sandwich because nobody wants the eggs you made at home and then brought an hour later to the farmer's market.
Right.
So the food truck, and how did you find? Are there just like foodtruck.com, go buy a food truck? How does that work?
We knew that we were going to have something pretty custom for what we needed,
Right.
And so we just researched some different places, and we actually reached out to a couple other people that had food trucks, or to find out, who they got theirs from, and how the process worked and all that. And we ended up finding a nationwide trailer in Cabot. They build them and customize them, and
Now
so,
you weren't. I'm saying this. Were you making croissants in a food truck, or were you making croissants elsewhere and then bringing them to the food truck and putting things in them?
They were being made on the food truck.
Wow.
It was a full rolling bakery. We had a 30-quart mixer, a full-size double convection oven, wood top table.
Thus the customization needed.
Yes.
Because not every food truck needs anything like that.
And it's a little bigger than other typical food trucks, a little bit longer and wider, so we'd have the space.
So once you get a food truck, which again I'm assuming is not a modest, it's a significant investment. How do you just go, hey world, we have a food truck? What do you do? Get on social media and say, hey, you loved us at the farmer's market, you're going to love our food truck, and we're going to be here tomorrow. We'll be here the next day, and
pretty much.
And it was you too.
Pretty much, it was us. And in the meantime, to get us there, we ran into this small issue of COVID. Right before we ordered our food truck in February
of 2020. So,
and then
the next month.
COVID happened in March. So our food truck was delayed until we actually got it the following November.
November of 20.
November of 20.
Which food trucks are, compared to a sit-down restaurant, at least you've got the outside element and the... So you all went ahead and launched into business in November?
These food trucks were thriving at that time.
Yeah. Where did you all have a usual route, or is there somewhere you set up all the time, or where were y'all usually?
It varied. It kind of changed up. We had different places that would reach out to us. We'd contact other places. We spent a lot of time in North Little Rock at the filling station.
Yeah, I know the filling station.
Me and McGee Market, Bramble Market, Rocktown Distillery.
Yes.
We can pull it and park it wherever, as long as we have an agreement with them. And it was a popular thing. And there's a few places, because we were so big, we couldn't get the food truck. So we've never actually made it down to the rail yard,
Right.
actually with the food truck. But we've been down there several times to support others and eat. But
So, and then you had a menu. Does the menu on the food truck, is it similar to the menu at your restaurant, or are you much more broad at the restaurant than you were at the food truck?
It was basically the food truck was kind of a test for everything that we have on the menu at the restaurant. We had been making cinnamon rolls and croissants and different kinds of croissants and different flavors and all those things, and we actually would sell those wholesale to different places. Me and McGee would buy them, and Bramble would buy them, and we still do that today. We have places
so that people can buy your product elsewhere.
And that kind of got us through until the food truck was here. And then, but if you come to the shop, I mean, we just served regular breakfast on our food truck.
Yeah.
We have a dish called the Croque de Crow, and it's, to our French chef that did the taste testing. That was his last name.
Okay, I was going to ask about that.
Kind of like a croque monsieur.
Right.
But we did that on the food truck. So the food truck was our test for our menu items now. And there's a few things that are on the menu now that were not that we didn't have on the food truck that have just evolved.
Sure.
But yeah, everything that we serve was on the food truck at some point. And we would keep it small. We'd have 4 or 5 items on the food truck, and now we can have all of those items at one time.
Well, you were talking about being able to buy your products at Me and McGee or other markets. Did any restaurants buy it to serve on the plates? I mean, did anybody buy your croissants and, here's our croissant, and oh, by the way, we got it from
there are some that do that, and some do it for special events. We have chefs that reach out to us to do, golf tournaments or a special brunch that they're doing. They'll get some croissants.
But I've eaten at restaurants where I'm like, that's Boulevard bread. I know it's Boulevard bread. And why would you try to make bread if why would you try to make croissants or sweet rolls if you got you all the
right? And we do other stuff that way as well. We have some pies and cakes that we send out to some restaurants.
I also, again, doing my exhaustive internet searching because I'm such a hard worker, your story is being told by the Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center at UA Little Rock. So you all are about to be a small business, and you go to them and say, hey, we got this idea for a food truck. And so they provide all sorts of services like, counseling, or not counseling, but you know what I mean? Consulting on the financial side of it. Do they help you arrange funders too? Yeah, so they do they're kind of a turnkey I don't even know that much about them.
Yeah, it was a great organization. We reached out to them. Someone recommended us, and we actually had 2 different contact people, and it was over Christmas break. And we contacted one, left a message, and she wasn't going to return for a few more days. So we called the other person, left a message, and he called back pretty immediately with a very thick French accent.
Oh, interesting.
So it was kind of meant to be.
You want to try a croissant?
Right. Yeah. So I got a little nervous. We met with him and actually took him some warm croissants, and the rest is history. He's been a great asset. He's put us in contact with people and set up some meetings with us to help us grow and advance our business in many ways.
So again, your food truck and your, as you call them, I love it, your flaky friends followed you. They've followed you and they've grown in number. So you had friends who loved you flaky friends who loved you at the farmers market. They loved you in the food truck. So what was the process to say, you know what, we need to have a brick and mortar, just a restaurant or a shop, as you call it. How did that come to be? Well,
we knew pretty quick once we got the food truck and our volume increased so much and our wholesale went up and the events that we were doing, the food truck was small.
Yeah.
And a fellow food truck friend of ours, Alejandro from Tacos Godoy, who was right next to us out there on Cantrell, he reached out to us and said the spot next to him was opening up and he knew we were looking for more space. And so we thought we would go in there and use it as a prep kitchen.
Okay.
That we would go in there for space, make the croissants, fill the food truck, and take it out. We got in there, and it was a really cute little spot. We're like, oh, this is kind of cute. It's small. It's only 1,600 square feet. And we put some tables and chairs in there and thought we would have, like, as Jill likes to say, an adult donut shop. We would have pastries on the counter. We'd have fresh breads. People could come in and grab a, pre-made breakfast sandwich and go. That's not how it worked out.
They wanted to hang out.
They hung out. It blew up. We got busy really quick. And I think that first year we ran the food truck 5 times.
Okay.
So it kind
because you were too busy working in your restaurant.
Yes. We went from a staff of 2 to 4. Now we're at 12.
At 12. Mm-hmm. And again, so a lot of folks, I guess, front of house and back of house,
Yep.
And you all, it would seem based on your story that work ethic is not an issue for either of you. So I'm sure you all are still there. It's not like you can hey, we're going off to Acapulco and you take care of everything. Y'all are right there
Pretty much. If the doors are open, we're there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the restaurant business.
We are hiring.
Yes.
I make every croissant. So, yes, I would like some extra hands. But again, we're in 1,600 square feet,
Yeah.
We do hope that soon we can expand and get into a bigger space and get some more hands back there. But
Again, I'm happy to teach you how to make a croissant because I can't make every single one of them. One of our first guests on Anthony Valinati from DeLuca's Pizza, and I don't know if he still does, but he made every single pizza.
Yeah.
Some point, it's
that's how you start out, though.
well, of course you do. It's for a lot of reasons. But
Quality
control is a big one.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
So far, this past year, 2023, she made 100,000.
Oh my God.
Almost 100,000.
Okay.
Might as well be
Wow,
100,000.
that is crazy.
That's just about 2,000 a week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly people are eating them because they don't last that long. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate this is a great story as I knew it would be. We're going to take a short break here on Heaping Spoonful. We're going to be back in just a minute with Wendy and Jill, the owners and operators of the Croissanterie in West Little Rock.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of Heaping Spoonful. We at Benny Keith Foods enjoy talking about the food scene almost as much as we enjoy providing the top quality ingredients that help restaurateurs and chefs across the Mid-South create their magic. Now let's dive even deeper into the culinary world with your host, Kelly Bass.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging with us here on Heaping Spoonful. We're going to continue our conversation with Wendy and Jill. So now let's move to my favorite part of these Heaping Spoonful podcasts when we talk about your menu and the items on your menu. So first, from a broad perspective, it's clear that, again, Wendy's experience as a pastry chef and Jill's as a chef who focused on everything, including the savory, which is what most restaurant items are, kind of look like a meeting in the middle because, again, croissants are the base for many things that you do. But did you all just put your heads together and say, again, you had all the experience on the food truck and you'd worked with a lot of these things. Was putting together the menu, I'm sure, just a collaborative deal where you all said, hey, this is what's been working. This is the other things we can do. How did the menu come together?
A whole lot of trial and error. When we first started, like we talked about earlier, we talked about the taco. And when we first had the food truck, we did the taco. Obviously, we don't do the taco today.
Right.
But I think people were just a little bit confused by it. But to go right along with that, people are not confused by chicken salad on a croissant.
Of course.
And they're not confused by sandwiches on croissants.
Even burgers, right?
Right. And so we did a whole lot of trial and error and just, trying different things.
Making stuff we wanted to eat.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. There you go.
And that's what we serve today is we serve food that we like to eat. But her specific croissant recipe is not so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So it really plays to the savory side. And it makes it super, super versatile. And we do everything from po' boys and burgers to flatbread pizzas to it's our French toast. We put every kind of sandwich in the world on one of these croissants. And Wendy's so great at manipulating the shapes. And, I can say, hey, what if we try to do this? And she's like, yeah, I think we could figure that out. And so we have a hot dog bun, we have a hamburger bun, we have a po' boy bun, we have a hoagie roll, we have flatbreads, we have the traditional croissant, we have a square shape that we do, and then we have the hamburger bun. And it's the lay burger that we started doing on the food truck that really kind of put us on.
You cannot go wrong with a burger. I'm telling you, that's been one of the themes. If anyone asks me what you've learned through Heaping Spoonful, and for some restaurants, a burger and a steak. You're going to have your certain number of people who that's what they're out there looking for. But the burger seems to be universal. And I'll have to say, you are the Croissanterie, but the number one top left item on the menu, at least on the website menu, is a classic breakfast. We got 2 eggs. You get a choice of bacon, sausage, or ham with either a croissant, biscuit, or toast. So you can come have breakfast. You talked about biscuits. I doubt you make the toast. I mean, you toast the toast, but you make the So it's not only about croissants. And then, because I saw on the menu too that your biscuits and gravy won an, I think, AY Magazine award, a reader's poll probably. So you talked about making biscuits when you were a kid coming to Arkansas with your grandmother. So croissants ain't the only thing you can make.
No, we do a variety of things, and all the bread that we serve in-house, we make.
Oh, okay. So the toast is your toast.
It sure
okay,
is.
well, listen to me. Jumping to conclusions that were incorrect. That's really neat. House-made sausage. Now, is that house-made by you or house-made by a partner?
By a partner.
Yeah.
We started out partnered with Jadonna Farms out of Mayflower. Get all of our beef and pork from there. And it's processed at Cypress Valley, and they have their own recipes for the sausage and things. We try to use as much local products and brands and
Saw that.
everything.
You even got pages on your website that show off the different partners that you work with.
That's just, I think for us, we like to be real involved with the community and, working with the community and being in the community and using the community. And it's a better product. The closer you get it to home, the better it is.
For sure. And you build those relationships and you appreciate them and they appreciate you. So quiche, again, you all make a good quiche.
Yeah. Pie crust is homemade. We make all the quiche filling. We have quiche Lorraine every day, and you get your choice of a side with it. Again, you can get a croissant, biscuit, or toast because those are the bread options that we have every day.
Yeah.
They change every now and then depending on what we're running, and sides they change seasonally. We always have a fruit mix. We always do a side salad. In the summer times, we do an extra kind of side salad, mixed salad, potato salad, or broccoli salad, or pasta salad, or macaroni salad. And then in the winter, like right now, we're running 3 soups, and they're all homemade.
Tell me about what those soups are, just because I love soup.
We always have cheese soup every day. That's our house soup. We started serving it on the food truck. We use it as a sauce.
Yeah.
It's a base for a few of our catering items, and it's a thick, creamy cheese soup.
Yeah.
No all cheese. But we were told on the food truck, all right, when y'all open your restaurant, you can't open it and not have cheese soup. so we do. The other 2 soups, we usually keep one monthly. It'll run all month, and then we have one that runs weekly that we can change. Right now we're doing a coconut curry carrot that's vegan, and then we have a 15 bean and ham.
As the weather gets colder, that sounds even better.
And the ham, my dad actually smoked the hams for us.
That's great.
And we're doing the specials this week are based on that ham. We've got a holiday ham sandwich. We're doing a ham biscuit that has a apple mustard butter.
Thanks, Dad.
On it, yeah, and cheese, and you can add an egg if you want. And then we have grits and gravy. And we like to use the Ralston Farms rice grits.
Yes,
another Arkansas local product.
That's fabulous. Well, you're open until 2, and you serve breakfast all day. But as a self-respecting and a customer-respecting restaurant, again, you have the croissants are back front and center with 5 sandwiches and 4 burgers, which feature Black Angus beef. Are there any things anywhere on the menu, the breakfast menu or the sandwich and burger menu, that are like those are the top sellers? Is there anything, or is it vary pretty evenly around the menu?
Probably top 2 items are French toast and biscuits and gravy.
Okay.
And then the breakfast, just the standard breakfast, right behind that. But the thing that's most surprising, was most surprising to me, is when you come in the restaurant, we have a pastry case that has all of the croissants, and we offer 3 different Danish. We have 6 different savory croissants, and then we have our sweet croissants, and then our muffins and cookies and brownies, and we offer cakes by the slice.
You make all of these?
We make everything.
God, when do you sleep? Not much.
We have a good crew.
Yeah.
But the pastry and the breakfast and lunch are pretty close to divided 50-50.
Right. So people coming in and yeah.
And we didn't start out doing burgers at the shop because we didn't want the shop to be smelling like a greasy burger joint. That would be kind of weird. You see all this beautiful pastry on the counter when you come in, but it smells like burgers and fries. But we later discovered that our Vinahood was strong enough, so we don't have to worry about that. So now we have the 3 burgers on the menu. Top burger is the Figgy Wiggy.
I saw that. Explain that one.
And it's the croissant bun. And then it has fig jam, grilled onions, bacon, brie cheese, mixed greens, roasted garlic, mayonnaise, and tomato.
So it's a little sweet and savory combo. Oh, it sounds good.
We do the brunch burger. That one, you can't go wrong with that.
No.
Fried egg on it.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it. And then right now we have the Frenchie, which has been super, super popular. I'm not sure we're going to be able to take it away.
And what tell me about what?
Gruyere cheese, roasted garlic, mayonnaise, Dijon mustard, onions, mushrooms, and some fried onions on top.
It's middle of the afternoon and I'm hungry. You're making me hungrier. Well, so again, you're a small place. You said you seat. You can do some dinners, and we'll talk about those in a minute for as many as 30. But you're in the 20s on your seats. So your menu 1,600 total square feet. A certain size, but then I look at your catering options. And it's like, oh my God, all these buffets, all these box lunches, all these 18 side items, which you've explained. Maybe you take some of the same stuff and do it different ways. Is catering? I mean, again, you all could let your culinary imaginations and experience run wild and create all these different things. Is catering becoming an even bigger part of your business?
Absolutely.
Is it, or has it always been?
Absolutely. That was what we got excited about when Alex approached us with the brick and mortar, because we were turning down catering.
Because you couldn't do it out of the truck.
Yeah, we didn't have enough storage to be able to do it. There's a certain amount of storage that goes around with catering, and now that we've started catering, we've run into the same problem in the shop that we're at now. We just run out of room to store for catering. Right. And so we require weeks notice. We need a week's notice so we can get the ingredients in that we may need. Most of them we keep in the shop all the time, but there's some things that we don't always have. So we require some notice for catering, but right now we do a lot of catering.
We offer a big variety because the events are so different. You've got some weddings that, do want a taco bar, or they want breakfast, or they want a dessert bar. And so we wanted to put some samples out there in the menu of just some ideas, and people still reach out to us and say, well, I was thinking this, and we can cater to make that to what they want it to be.
So we talked about you're open 5 days a week, which doesn't mean you goof off for 2 days. It means you do all the business side of your business, but I guess you also work on some catering stuff and whatever needs, because your kitchen's there without customers a couple of days. But like I said, you all have work ethic and sleep. One's high and one's low, for sure. And then I also, again, you have a good website. I really like it. And but you one tab is about the process to make croissants. And I don't know that the idea is that you're going to jump in there and do it. I hope the idea is you're going to respect what it takes to make what you're liking eating so much. Because again, it's very, I know, a very detailed thing, and you've learned it from scratch. And then there's your community page. Again, your culinary partners, we've talked about some of those already. Places where people can buy your goods, and then you have an opportunity for local artists to display and I guess hopefully sell their work at your shop. That just seems, I guess, having that community outreach, including offering classes, and then I guess that's just part of who you all are as people as well as who you are as a business.
We love to teach, and
that's what you met as instructors,
right.
And students, and then instructors.
Mm-hmm, yes, and so we want to offer those classes, and we thought we'd be able to do it in our current space. It's just too small, but we've done classes in the past where we've taught the croissant process. I mean, I'd gladly teach you the process if you want to make it, and I still have students who took some of those courses with me send me pictures. I tried this weekend. Here's my outcome. Or we've done cinnamon rolls, macarons. We've done some savory classes. And we want to get back to doing that. We hope that we can do that in the near future.
And then you told us before we started recording that you all have private dinners where I guess where people sign up and you do a 5-course menu. And how often do those happen? And are they monthly, or are they?
monthly.
And you promote those through your social media?
Mm-hmm. We do. If you sign up through our website, for our email list,
Comes as part of the email.
it's the email list gets the first blast for when the tickets are available, and then you can go through the website and purchase the tickets when it's opened up. And they're usually either the third or the last Thursday of the month. Just kind of depends on how the calendar falls, and we do them. We don't do them in November. We don't do them in December because we're
Obvious
just
reasons.
Holiday. We're just too busy.
Right.
To be able to do that. We actually, this past December, we did 3 or 4 private ones.
Right.
We hosted a couple at the shop and then went in home to people's houses and did them. But it's, the menu changes all the time, and it's stuff that we don't normally have in the show. Like the last one we did in October, we did rabbit and we did quail and we did walleye, and as much good stuff as we can get our hands on.
Right.
It's our chance to do something different and do some research and experiment. And
Well, like you said, I mean, y'all are instructors, and you're always learning and always teaching. That's really, really cool. Well, before we close, I want to mention one more thing. You just mentioned in this podcast episode that there was a Frenchman who had one of your croissants and said, "Wow, this is the very best thing I've had since I've been on this side of the Atlantic." And to be known for making and baking and serving croissants that are on the par with the ones that are served in France is a great claim to fame. And it's exactly what I said when I first had the baguette at Boulevard Bread. When it opened, it's been almost 25 years. But even better, my sister Nancy, who moved to Paris in 1980 and raised her kids there, they just had celebrated Christmas there. When she came, I took her to Boulevard and she ate baguette, and she said, "This is as good as my neighborhood bakery in Paris."
Wow.
So now the next time she comes, you know where I'm bringing her, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, "Look, these folks are putting out croissants that are France worthy." So that's really cool. So thank you again for what you're doing. Thanks for, again, how hard you're working to produce fabulous food and keeping so many Arkansans happy. Continued good luck with all of that. And thanks to everybody listening to Heaping Spoonful. We post new episodes on the first and third Tuesday of each month. So keep an eye and an ear out for those, and please go back and check out ones you've missed. Thanks, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Heaping Spoonful. On behalf of all of us at Benny Keith Foods, Mid-South Division, please know how much we love connecting you with the legends of the culinary scene and their unique stories. I look forward to the next time we can offer you another Heaping Spoonful.